Hi everyone, it's Tinker Tuesday. My name is Miss Christina, and today we're going to be doing some Santa science. Did you know that Santa loves science? Yeah, think about it. Santa has to figure out how to make millions and millions and millions of toys in just 1 year. With the help of his elves, of course, but then he also has to figure out how to deliver those toys, how to go all around the world visiting every boy and girl in just one night. There is a lot of science involved with that. So yes, Santa is a great scientist. And today we're going to be doing some of his favorite experiments. So Santa is a little busy right now, so he can't be with us today, but he did ask me to show you how to do these experiments. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Let's go ahead and get started. Our first experiment is some fizzing Christmas trees. For this, you will need baking soda, water and vinegar, paper plates, scissors, food coloring, which is optional, and glitter, which is also optional. Now, the first thing you need to do is create a mold for your Christmas tree, and you will use a paper plate for that. So go ahead and cut one in half. Now, fold the paper plate into a cone shape. You'll do that by folding over one side so that the edges meet, and then doing the same to the other side. Secure it with staples or tape, and when you're done, it should look something like this. Now, I recommend making at least a couple of these just to extend the fun a little bit longer. We're going to be filling our molds with a mixture made out of baking soda and water. And if you want your tree to be colorful, you can add a little bit of food coloring. I'm going to make mine just a traditional green tree, but you can choose whatever color you like. And then pour in just a little bit of water into that baking soda. Start off small, mix it up, and then keep adding water as needed. You don't want the baking soda to be really wet. You just want it to be moldable. You want it to be able to hold a shape. Alright, so as you can see, I'm able to form a ball with the baking soda, so I think it's just about right. And now I'm going to add some glitter. You don't have to add glitter, it's optional, but I just think everything's better with glitter, so I am going to add a whole lot. And now you can start filling your molds. Spoon in your baking soda and use the bottom of your spoon to really pack it in tight. And now here comes the really hard part. You're gonna have to wait. Put your trees in the freezer overnight to let them set. Take them out the next day and set them aside to warm up a little bit. While that's happening, find a baking tray or something else that has high sides. That will help contain this mess. And if you want to, you can sprinkle in a little bit more baking soda to the bottom and maybe even add a little bit more glitter. And now open up your molds. I thought you'd have to cut them off, but actually you can just unwrap them really easily. And here is the fun part. Pour some vinegar onto your trees and watch the reaction. Do you see all that fizz? That is a chemical reaction, and you can keep adding more and more vinegar until your trees completely dissolve, which actually takes some time. This activity should keep you entertained for quite a while. All right, let's see if we can figure out how to make this Christmas light light up. As you can see, it's not attached to a cord, so we can't just plug it in. Do you have any ideas? Well, what if I showed you that I have a battery? What if we touched these two wires to the two terminals on the battery? I wonder what will happen. Whoa! It worked! That is so cool! All right, now let's see if we can take it a step further by creating a circuit. You will need some lights. You can use some that don't work anymore. A 9-volt battery. Some tin foil cut into strips. A brass fastener. Wire cutters or scissors, and something sturdy like a file folder. You'll also need your parents' help. To start, your parent or adult can snip off a light from the strand. Make sure that you have a couple inches of wire on either side of the light. Now your adult can snip off a little bit of that wire casing so that the wire is exposed. Do that on both sides. And it should look like this. Now you can start laying out your circuit. A circuit is a path around which electricity flows, and you need three main things to complete a circuit. First, you need a power source. We're using a battery. You also need a resistor, which is what the Christmas lights are being used as. And you will need a conductive path. We're using tinfoil. You may also want a switch. That is what we're using the brad for. For our circuit to work, there cannot be any breaks. Everything has to touch for that current to go around in a loop. So as you are taping everything down, be very mindful of that. Make sure everything is connected. Okay, I've got everything taped down, and now I will add the battery. It's going to touch the tin foil. It's going to go right here in this empty space. And then I'm going to press the switch down so it touches the tin foil. And, oh, the green lit up, but the red did not. Let's see. It seems like maybe the tin foil and the wire are not touching. So let's see if we can adjust that. Okay, drum roll. Woo! It worked. All right. So if this does not work for you the first time, just do some troubleshooting. You'll figure it out. Now let's make a snowstorm in a jar. For this, you'll need a jar. One with no wrapper is preferable. Baby oil, Alka-Seltzer, white paint, water, and glitter, which is optional. Start by filling your jar 2/3 of the way up with baby oil. Now add some white paint to a cup of water and mix together. Pour some of that water into your jar of baby oil. This will give it more of a white, opaque look, kind of like a snowstorm. Now break your Alka-Seltzer up into smaller pieces. All right, let's see what happens when we drop a piece of Alka-Seltzer in the jar. Do you see it starting to bubble? That is so cool. Now the reason you see this reaction is because water and oil don't mix. They stay separate. And because oil is less dense than water, it will always float on top of the water surface. Now another factor in this is that Alka-Seltzer tablets are made out of baking soda and citric acid, and water activates a reaction between the citric acid and the baking soda, making it fizz and bubble. Now, what's really cool is that because the oil and the water will never mix together, you can keep this and reactivate your snowstorm anytime you want just by popping in a few more bits of Alka-Seltzer. For our last experiment, we are going to make some crystal snowflake ornaments. For this, you'll need some borax, a pipe cleaner, hot water, an empty jar, a pencil, and some string. To make a snowflake, cut your pipe cleaner into 4 equal pieces. I've already done that. Then take 3 of the pieces, bundle them together, and wrap the 4th piece around it. Now separate the pieces to form a snowflake shape. Now the sides will probably be uneven, so if you'd like to, you can give it a little trim. I'm going to leave the top piece a little longer because it's going to need to wrap around a piece of string later on. Now attach the snowflake to a piece of string or ribbon or yarn. You can do this by twisting the top point of the snowflake around the string or yarn or whatever it is you're using. Tie the other end of the yarn around a pencil and lay the pencil across the top of your jar. Look at the length. Make sure that the snowflake is not touching the bottom of the jar, but also make sure that it's hanging down low enough to be fully immersed in the water. You can adjust the length as necessary. Now fill your jar with very, very hot water. Of course, an adult needs to do that part. And then for every cup of water, add 3 tablespoons of borax. After adding each tablespoon of borax, stir it until it dissolves. Don't wait to stir it until the end like I did because it had already settled to the bottom and it was really difficult to get it unstuck. Lay your pencil across the top of the jar and double check to make sure that the ornament is not touching the bottom or the sides of the jar. Also make sure that it is fully immersed in the water. Set it aside for the rest of the day, and in the morning, it will have formed crystals. So as the water in the jar cooled, the borax settled onto the pipe cleaners and even onto the yarn, and it formed these really neat crystals. I think this is so pretty, and these would make really great ornaments. They would look beautiful on your Christmas tree. You can make lots of these in lots of different colors and maybe even give them out as gifts. And that is all Santa and I have for you today. So thank you again for joining us. I hope you have lots of fun experimenting, and I hope you have a very Merry Christmas. Bye!